Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to a new video here on the channel. Now, a lot of you don't know this, but I used to have a lifting channel, a powerlifting channel, fitness channel, back in the day, like 2011, something like that. And one of the videos that I did on there was a series that I see everyone in the new era of fitness YouTubers is doing today. And that is essentially natty or not. Now, I can show you proof of this, in another video sometime. But I created these two videos on, one was on Justin Bieber because everyone was saying he was on steroids, and I was basically dismantling it and saying like, no, he's not for this and this reason. And then the other one was on Zac Efron when he was doing Baywatch. And they both went absolutely viral into the millions or hundreds of thousands from what I remember. And of course, then I got busy with life and I started Star Wars Theory. And now here we are again with my new workout fitness channel, much more improved, of course. And I'd like to start this old series that I began back in the day, basically Natty or Not, which is now what everyone's calling it. And we're going to start off today with Mr. WAD. And this is a dude I came across a while ago. This is a guy that says he doesn't take any protein powder. He doesn't use steroids or anything like that. He claims not to. And I want to go into it. I want to look at his videos and I want to talk with you guys about it and see what everyone thinks. And of course, this is my own opinion. This is not factual. These are just, my thoughts and my opinions on what is possible to be achieved naturally. So what I might say, my opinions might surprise you, but let's go ahead and watch one of the videos here and let's get into it.
A man who defies the odds, who shatters.
Before we begin, with steroids or not, whatever, regardless what he claims, insane physique, like goal physique, pretty much right here for me. For me, a little bit too lean for what I want, but literally like perfect.
Expectations, and who has become a symbol of strength and resilience. He is Mr. WAD, the unknown bodybuilder who has taken the fitness world by storm.
Dude literally has like veins coming through his tights. like that is insane. The level of leanness and musculature on that frame is insane. And, when you're lean, that's the thing that's really kind of deceiving, is that you look really big without your shirt, but in clothing, you don't really look all that big. You look like you got shape, but you don't look all that big. And then the opposite is, is with power lifters, with really big guys. They don't look all that big when they have their shirt off because there's no definition, really. It's just like a big muscle mass with fat. But then in shirts and clothing, it's like, dude, this guy's freaking huge. So it's I always found that funny.
Who has taken the fitness world by storm. With no access to fancy gyms, no expensive equipment, and no steroids.
All I see people trying to credit my hard work and everything straight to PDAs and these steroids and whatsoever.
Look, whether he's on steroids or not, I gotta say, it takes a crazy amount of work and discipline to look like that regardless. Now, I'm going to make a different video eventually in the future on my thoughts on steroids. Obviously, I haven't ventured into using steroids, but being on testosterone replacement therapy or testosterone optimization therapy, I do see the absolute insane advantage of being on this tiny microscopic dose of testosterone. So I can only imagine what like all the other compounds are doing for bodybuilders and users out there who are taking copious amounts of not just testosterone but like other things like Anavar or Tren or NPP or whatever they're doing, Winstrol. And we're gonna get into that in another video because I'm gonna share with you my findings with just from being natty to being on just like a tiny little bit to optimize my hormones. But anyways, regardless, it's a lot of work to be able to look like this.
You call it, but it's the thing. I don't really care because I noticed one thing: being in a certain position, it comes with that. You know how a hater can just pick a phone, come to your profile, check, go through your comment section, then they try to discredit whatever that is going on, attach this negativity to make themselves feel good. But giving the people the impression that this is not possible. Come on, man. I've been working out for 8 years, consistent for like 6 years. Of course, I'm an African, okay? Not just an African. Where I'm from, the genetic is crazy. If you're doing something, you do it right.
Yeah, look, I do agree with that. I think black people have extremely good genetics.
Mr. WAD has achieved the impossible. He has sculpted his body into a work of art, using only his determination, discipline, and the resources.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. Like, I don't think he's all that big. He might just be like extremely ripped, with really small bones and really big muscle bellies. And he's not like pushing crazy weights or anything. Like, I mean, look at his waist. It is super tiny. Like, I'd be surprised if he's even above a 30-inch waist. But so the only thing well, not the only thing. One of the things I really notice about this in terms of like him being natty or not, in my opinion, is the conditioning. It is so difficult to be this lean, but also this level of dryness and hardness. So everything from the vascularity, the leanness, and being natural and not being, just like kind of flat looking is actually quite difficult. And this is something that I feel like, you would see a guy in the gym that could look like this and he could be on like Test and Anavar and a whole bunch of other crap. And I'm not saying that's what he's on, but in my opinion, if I saw a dude like this, I wouldn't think he's natural. I would think that he's on something. Now, it could very well be this guy has like some of the best genetics on the face of the planet. And, he's living in a very low stress environment. Maybe, there's no radiation around him. The food is very clean. It's very organic. There's very good nutrients in the food. It's not watered down like here in North America where everything is like processed and basically just dead and full of shit. But this could very well be just a representation of what the human body is capable of if you have like top tier genetics, high testosterone levels naturally, which is very possible. One of my best friends has a 34 on the scale test, whereas like I was like 16 on the scale, and the scale only goes to 28, and this guy was like a 34. And one of my best friends, and we always thought he was on roids, but I know him my whole life, and he never was. So it is possible to look like this, but I think at this dude's age, which I believe is probably over 30, I just don't think this is possible. So in my opinion, I don't think he is all natural. But I mean, if he is, dude, like more power to him. That's insane. Some of the giveaways, of course, are the level of hardness of his body, the capped delts. That doesn't really necessarily happen to this magnitude if you are natural, but again, could just have extreme exemplary genetics. As he says, he has African genetics. So it takes 3 to 4 weeks for you to see changes in your body. It takes 2 to 4 months for your friends to start seeing those changes, but it takes 4 to 5 years at least for the world to notice the hard work you put in. Sincerely, I started fitness with no reason, no goal, but eventually it didn't become just a hobby, but a bigger part of my life, and now a bigger source of inspiration to many others around the world. This is a work put in for 8 years and counting, and I just want you all to know that. Make your mind first. Change is always bound to happen. It's always about consistency. That's true. It is. It is all about consistency. Get my routine of how I changed over the years by clicking on the link under my bio. Come work with me. Sign up now. Oh, I see. Okay, so it's like a sign up, like post thing. Comments, man. Let's talk about steroids next to Train 2 to tell those young boys that it's not possible without it, so they won't be depressed or disappointed if not getting the same results. Nice job, bro. It's funny how they think this dude is on roids. Bro was shredded since day one. Just looks like a regular athletic teenager, and this one looks like, well, yeah. Hey, Dark Hercules, mashallah. Okay, he's getting slid into the DMs there. And, the thing I find interesting about this is that he posts a lot of stuff with, very, very light weights. So this right here to me doesn't necessarily scream that he's on PEDs. He just kind of looks like a soccer player that lifts weights more than a typical soccer player would. I mean, if we were to compare this with a picture of Ronaldo, Ronaldo's legs look even better. So let's check that out. Right there. There's Ronaldo's legs, which look pretty unbelievably juiced up, to be honest. There we go again. I mean, like, Ronaldo is also a genetic phenom, with the world's best training and lifestyle and all that stuff. So, is Ronaldo on juice? That's maybe a different video for a different time. I mean, but at the end of the day, we could definitely see that his legs do somewhat mimic the same sort of vascularity and musculature as Mr. WAD here. So, Mr. WAD just obviously isn't a soccer player, so he's not burning into his muscle with all the endurance activity. He's just merely training consistently with weights, and his goal is to be a bodybuilder. So it's kind of a tough one, man. Without really knowing his stats, it's difficult to see if he is fully a genetic phenom, really. Like he says, he's got African genetics and the best genetics. So is it that, or is he actually on something that's giving him a bit of a size advantage? Either way, dude looks impressive, and his physique is quite unattainable. from even dudes that are on massive amounts of gear that I see in the gym. So he's definitely got genetics on his side, but you know, when you mix that with like a little bit of something, can it give you this result? And that is the question that we're going to try and answer in today's video. So obviously, if I were to look at this, I'd be like, hey, this guy is got those cap delts. He's super lean. He's got a very thin little waist, which means he's probably got small joints. If you look at his joints, you know, the elbow joint here looks small, the wrists look small. If there's a picture of him with a sort of watch or something, we could be able to tell a little better. Also, if we look at his calves look like my calves. Really doesn't have much going on there for his calves. Yeah, look, calves pretty crappy, just like mine. But, you know, the rest of his body looks great. I mean, I do think that he has small joints, and this definitely does help in appearing bigger when you don't have a shirt on, especially if you're lean and if you have good muscle bellies and a very good work ethic. Now, the thing that really jumps out to me is his level of fullness with the level of leanness. And yeah, maybe he just, you know, carved up right before this or something like that. But at the end of the day, it is still quite difficult to achieve this physique naturally. You got to be like the best of the best on the planet. You got to have like the best genetics, and you got to be exposed to very good stimulus with your workouts. Yeah, I mean, look, these bars, I know these bars, they're extremely thin. These aren't like your typical Olympic bars. An Olympic bar would probably make this thing look super tiny. And his joints really aren't that big in comparison to this bar. Now, if you're going to ask me the question, do I think he's natty? No, I don't. Is it possible to look like this? I think it's possible to look like this very close. I think it's possible to look like this if you have literally everything checked off of my list. And my list, in my opinion here, is that you got to have top tier genetics. We're talking Superman genetics, okay? You got to be super consistent. This guy is super consistent. And he's obviously got great genetics. You have to have small joints and big muscle bellies, and you got to be lean. And that's really going to give you the illusion that you look much bigger than you actually are, especially in videos when, you know, you can't really tell what size he is in relation to other objects. So I want to try to find something where we could see him like next to perhaps like something that we can compare to everyday life. Okay, so here he is next to like a typical case. He's freaking tall as hell, first of all. So that's going to help, you know, help with the leanness and creating, you know, long muscle bellies. I feel like if I were to stand here, I would my head would probably go to like right around there, something like that. So this guy must be like 6'1", 6'2", I would imagine. 6'2", probably like 200 pounds. Yeah, dude, I don't know. It's quite questionable. Seeing this, man, I don't think, yeah, in my opinion, I don't think he's natty. You got to have some top tier genetics for this, and he might have that, but this is like, it's a little too good. I mean, how many people have these kind of genetics out there? Yeah, and here he just really doesn't look all that big or strong. So it's like he could pass as like a natty dude who's just really lean and has good genetics. So this guy is really like, I can't figure it out. Like I don't think he is natty, but he could just have like some of the world's best freaking genetics out there. Yeah, dude, that's just a little too crisp for me, if you know what I'm saying. Just a little too hard, lean, dense, big, and cap delts, striations, veins. Regardless, you know, extreme hard work and dedication, but still, this is a little too good, I think. So, in my opinion, I think he's on a little bit of something. But yeah, hey, he could just have some of the world's best genetics with tiny joints and very full muscle bellies. But very, very question. I could see why so many people are like, do you use steroids? Are you on test? Like every single question pretty much is about that. But yeah, we'll see. Anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Leave a like on the vid if you enjoyed this type of video, and I'll see you in the next one.